Now that we're comfy and cozy in our nice, warm, bubbling hot tub, let's go ahead and jump into the topic of Michael Knowles, better known as Michael Numbskull. Now, I hope you guys are in for something here, because this is not just going to be like one-off little video that we're going to look at. We're looking at two different videos, and then we're going to compare the videos and show how absolutely inconsistent Michael Knowles is, and also the fact that he basically is making arguments against himself. It's really weird. Now, if you don't know this already, Michael Knowles is very famous for being mad online.
The message about how to break out of the lockdowns, and the message is simple. Vax or mask?
It's vaxxed or masked.
That's it. That's the whole video. Vaxxed or...
That's pretty corny. Yeah, sure. That's pretty cringy and corny. Yeah.
Does that rhyme? No. It's actually, it's like almost a near rhyme, so it's even kind of weirder and more annoying.
Is that your biggest problem with this, Dr. Seuss?
Vaxxed or mask or die or vote. No, not very persuasive.
I mean, let's be honest here. As cringy as Biden's statement was, like as cringy as it was done with him, like vaxxed or masked. Yeah, that's fucking cringy, typical politics stuff. But I mean, he's right. Like the guidelines literally say that if you're fully vaccinated, you don't really need to be wearing masks or social distancing as much. So if you get vaccinated, cool. But if you're not vaccinated, you should still be wearing a mask. So all cringe aside, I mean, it is literally a true statement.
Persuasive, not persuading a whole lot of Americans. By the way, our other propaganda minister here in the United States, Dr. Fauci, has come out and admitted...
Propaganda minister. I guess we're going to continue on the pattern of conservatives only speaking in hyperbole. It's bizarre to me. How do they not make a fucking point? I don't understand.
And admitted once again that he lied. Admitted once again that he misled the American people.
Really?
Remember, we were told by Dr. Fauci, you have to wear the masks. Even after you're vaccinated, you have to do it. And you say, well, what's the point of getting the vaccine if I have to?
Wasn't it wear the mask after? Hold on. Why would I even get vaccinated if I still have to wear a mask? Because you still have to wear a mask after the first vaccination. It's not until you're fully vaccinated. There you go. Very simple answer. Something tells me, though, he's not looking for a simple answer. He's looking to be a partisan hack.
Wear the masks after. No, you have to. And then they realized no one was going to get the vaccine, because if your life's not going to change, why would I shoot myself full of this hastily developed inoculation?
Oh, lie again, right there. Not hastily developed. The COVID vaccine actually has been being researched, and they've been trying to develop a different type of coronavirus vaccine for, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was decades. For you to act like this was a rushed vaccine, I mean, it did happen faster than normal, sure, but like, first of all, I thought that you guys were jerking off Trump for that, and now all of a sudden that means it's a bad thing that it happened quickly. Second of all, it happened quickly, like I said, because they've already been studying the vaccine for decades. And lastly, it was approved for emergency use, which allows it to be, pushed out further or faster, as opposed to if it were actually like going through the full long process of a full out FDA approval. But the FDA has approved it for emergency use. So, okay.
If I don't get any political benefit for it. And he says, okay, actually,
if you don't get political benefit for it, see, this is what is so weird. He thinks that like everybody that just like is a decent human being that trusts science is like some virtue signaling liberal that's just trying to show how virtuous they are. It's really bizarre.
Can take the mask off. He was just asked, well, what happened here? He said, well, it was basically political theater.
No. I'm obviously careful because, I mean, I'm a physician and a healthcare provider. I am now much more comfortable in people seeing me indoors without a mask. I mean, before the CDC made the recommendation change, I didn't want to look like I was giving mixed signals. But being a fully vaccinated person, the chances of my getting infected in an indoor setting is extremely low.
Okay, so wait. What do you mean he's doing it all for political theater? You fucking conservatives bash this guy constantly for being like, well, remember Fauci said we didn't need masks, and then all of a sudden he said we did need masks? Like, the conservative critique of this guy is him being inconsistent. He's like, hey, yeah, I'm fully vaccinated. It probably is safe for me not to wear my mask, but I was waiting because I wanted to continue to set an example, knowing that I'm a high-profile individual, until the CDC updates their guidelines. That way it doesn't look inconsistent or send mixed signals. And Michael Knowles hears that and thinks, this guy just admitted to doing nothing but political theater. Got him! I can't understand it. Like, who watches Michael Knowles? Pete, you know who watches Michael Knowles? People that already believe all this bullshit. People that are looking for none of their ideas to be challenged and instead to just have a big old jerk-off fest where all they do is hear someone else tell them what they already believe.
Yes, I wore the mask and also told all you stupid sheep to wear the mask, even though I knew you didn't have to and it was total nonsense.
Wait.
Because I wanted to shill for the CDC because I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor.
Wait. Okay. Whew. I don't know if I should, like, just try to respond and keep being really charitable and, like, picking apart this whole video here, or if I should just, like, try to ignore this because of how fucking annoying it is. But he said he doesn't have to wear a mask after you're fully vaccinated. He even said he was a fully vaccinated person. That's why I felt comfortable doing it. It was, even with the limited context we had, it was pretty clear what he was saying there.
I'm a doctor. When was the last time Dr. Fauci saw a patient? How many patients does this guy see a week? He's not a doctor. He's a politician who has medical expertise, but he's a politician.
Wait, what? A politician who has medical expertise? Was he elected? Does he have constituents? Does he vote? No, he's not a politician, you dumb fuck. Let's go over to our good old pal Wikipedia, all right? So he's a physician with the National Institutes of Health. He has served the American public health sector in various capacities for more than 50 years. He's acted as an advisor to every U.S. president since Ronald Reagan. Okay, so he has a long history of being a medical professional who advises presidents and other top leaders when they're dealing with pandemics and such. He's a trusted individual, a well-recognized individual who's been serving the American public health sector for more than 50 years. But apparently because in and out of his meetings, right, with the National Institutes of Health, because he's not picking up his phone, yeah, hi, Billy? Yeah. Oh, congratulations on turning 6. Yeah, we'll schedule a checkup real soon. Yeah, hi, Phil. Yeah, we'll talk about your sore back. Let me prescribe you some antibiotics. Because he doesn't also, like, have patients at a local doctor office, that means he's not a doctor and a politician instead? Who listens to this guy?
He's thrown away his credibility. Why should we believe him? Why should we follow these guys? The Associated Press palling around with terrorists. Why should we listen to them? The leftists on CNN arguing.
Oh, okay. I'm getting real triggered right now. The leftists on CNN. Yup. Man, when I think of leftists, the first thing I think of is CNN. It just shows how brain dead this guy is.
Against positions that we do not hold, very often just spreading outright lies like Don Lemon did on critical race theory. Why should we listen to them? Why do they have any authority? Leftist politicians. Claire
Wait, why are you conflating Fauci, a trusted and recognizable health professional who has served multiple presidents? You realize that you can trust him and not also trust CNN and Don Lemon. What are these arguments? Can we just get to the end? Because it's the end part that has something to do with the next video I want to look at.
Caskell saying that we just want to punish rape victims or something. Why did we listen to this? We have no obligation to engage in a bad faith debate. We have no obligation to pay any heed to people who have acknowledged their own bad faith and squandered their credibility. And we've got to engage in the ideas will always win. No, there's no reason whatsoever to deal on the level with people who are acting in bad faith. Not a chance.
Okay, there you go. Don't deal with people acting in bad faith. Now, certainly Michael Knowles, our good friend Michael Knowles, he would never say something like that and then simultaneously begin acting in bad faith, right? Of course not. I mean, this guy has principles. All right, I'm sorry. I forgot. He does not.
have two eyes and recognize that men are not women. It's devastating. These bills are going to be responsible for the death of children. It's that simple. Okay.
So what bills are they? I assume that Elliot is talking about the Southern bills, right? Trying to block trans youth's access to puberty blockers. Okay.
I want to take this argument on head on because I think very often people will write in from the left and they'll say, you just don't understand this issue, Michael. You're strawmanning this issue. Sure, men and women are different, but some people have this awful affliction, and if you don't indulge their fantasies, then you're killing them because they're going to be depressed and suicidal.
No, we're not talking about indulging any fantasies. We're actually just talking about recognizing people's gender identity, as we already do. We already recognize people's gender identity. You just have a problem with change because you're a little special snowflake, and if something's different, it scares you.
What about anorexics? What about people who are dangerously thin but believe that they are fat?
Oh.
That's their truth. That's their self-perception. What's the difference? They're both body dysmorphic disorders.
People are always saying I'm strawmanning. So he brought up body dysmorphia. This is one that I actually heard about from Lauren Southern too, and I was prepared to respond if she were to bring it up. So body dysmorphia is an issue, right, where you can't stop thinking about one or more perceived defects or flaws in your appearance, a flaw that appears minor or can't be seen by others. So body dysmorphia is literally a delusion about what your body looks like. Someone with body dysmorphia might actually, yeah, right here, look in the mirror and genuinely see a fat person looking back at them. Trans people have gender dysphoria, which is a discomfort with their body. Transgender people are painfully aware of what their body is. They don't believe that they're actually something different. They have the affliction because their body is different from their gender identity. Trans people suffer from gender dysphoria because they are not delusional about their bodies. Looking at their body and seeing it for what it is makes them uncomfortable. That's what causes the affliction. So body dysmorphia and gender dysphoria, although I know, Michael, it can be confusing because they sound a little similar, and I know you care a lot about rhyming apparently, but these things are not the same and they're not comparable. Yes, they look in the mirror and see a different gender looking back at them. The difference, that's not what it is. Their gender identity differs from their body, right? So if you identify yourself as a woman, you might be uncomfortable by the fact that you have a penis. You're not delusionally believing that your penis is a vagina. You're recognizing that, hey, I'm a woman and I have a penis and it makes me uncomfortable.
They're fat people trapped inside of thin people's bodies, right?
No.
And if we don't indulge their delusion, they're going to be very sad and depressed and upset. You're
wrong. This is literally a huge straw man. The reason we don't indulge people who have anorexia or people with body dysmorphia is because by indulging that is, one, it is a delusion where someone's gender identity is like not. And two, indulging an anorexic person or somebody with body dysmorphia is harming them. Validating trans people's gender identity and letting them pursue whatever treatment they might desire benefits them. You have one that harms people and one that benefits people. These are not comparable.
This is actually what Paul McHugh, the doctor who helped to pioneer the transgender surgery at Johns Hopkins University, which was the institution that pioneered the gender ideology.
So let's be very specific here. Dr. Paul McHugh, he is a one-off psychiatrist. I looked into this claim that Michael made, by the way. He had nothing to do with pioneering the trans operation or anything. The only thing Paul McHugh had anything to do with his revolving gender was shutting down the Johns Hopkins Gender Clinic. He served as like the, was like a psychiatry, the head of psychiatry. I just think it's really interesting how Dr. Fauci, somebody who is credible, somebody who has advised Reagan, somebody who's advised other Republicans, somebody who seems really good at going across party lines and doing what you have to do. Someone like Fauci, Michael Knowles writes him off. He's a technocrat. He's an evil, disgusting doctor who doesn't even have patience, by the way. But then Dr. Paul McHugh, a one-off guy who stands opposed to the vast medical consensus on this subject. Either the entire medical consensus is wrong or Paul McHugh is wrong. I just find it really strange how selective Michael Knowles seems to be when it comes to which doctor is valid or not. One-off doctor that's literally been disavowed by Johns Hopkins. Johns Hopkins literally had to come out and say, hey, there are a lot of people that might have like our name with them or whatever, but like we do not agree with them. They're not associated. They don't speak for the Johns Hopkins institution. That guy, that's credible to Michael Knowles. That guy's credible to Michael Knowles, but Dr. Fauci, no. I could be wrong here, but I'm starting to get the feeling that maybe, just maybe, this Michael Knowles guy is a partisan hack that picks and chooses when he's going to be opposed to something, whether or not it suits his ideological goal. If there's anybody in my chat that actually unironically takes this guy seriously, you need to do some serious self-reflection, because he is not telling you the truth, my friend.
This is what he concluded in the 70s. He said the surgery doesn't really do anything to help people. It doesn't necessarily hurt, but it doesn't, as a psychological matter, it obviously hurts their physicality, but it doesn't help them. So he stopped doing.
Okay, we're not going to go over, like, get super into this because we've been kind of hammering on this subject for a while. You can go check out my other video. There are way newer studies that use, yes, the proper control groups, the proper sample sizes, the proper effect, the effect rate or whatever. All the right methodology for all those fuckers that like to pick through and try to figure out something that they can complain about. There are way better, way newer studies that aren't from the 70s, buddy. From a biased dude who's been disavowed by like every major medical institution, that have found that the surgery overwhelmingly helps transgender individuals.
You know who else was at Johns Hopkins University? Dr. John Money, a sick pervert who was totally bought in on gender identity theory.
So this John Money guy was the dude who was like, there was a botched circumcision with this kid, and then he like tried to give the kid, without consent, by the way. It was super fucking disgusting and not ethical at all. Without the kid's or the kid was like really little, so there was no consent there at all. And he basically gave the child a sex change. And then that guy ended up killing himself later on. It was absolutely horrific. But doesn't that also like a little bit support our point that like people have like a innate gender, that just if you like, maybe like trans people are sincere, right, about like their gender identity? I don't know. Either way, for him to try and say that like Johns Hopkins once had this creepy guy that did something unethical, like, I mean, okay, by that logic, you know, one-time doctors, they would put leeches on people to suck the blood because they thought that sucking the infected blood out would help people get better. So now when my doctor tells me to take allergy medication, I'm not going to listen. I mean, like, it doesn't make any sense what you're saying right now. Yes, there's been medical malpractice in the past. It's gross, it's disgusting, and it should be called out. But for you to try and, like, extrapolate this to have anything to do with, like, trans people? It's just fucking bizarre. But I don't even know why I'm engaging with this, because remember, according to Michael's own logic, we shouldn't even be engaging with him because he is bad faith.
And destroyed a young boy's life because he, as a little baby,
skip the virtue signaling.
I discussed this at great.
We don't care.
Horrible things.
Well, that's not true. We do care, but we don't care about this empty, insincere platitude coming from Michael fucking Numbskull.
There's another argument on the gender theory, which is this. Yes, men and women are different, and yeah, that's not going to change reality, but these men who think they're women, they're just caught in this condition and there's no way out of it. And so it's better for them, it's much better for them if they can mutilate their bodies to look more like the other sex before puberty sets in. That's the argument. That the actual strong argument for castrating kids,
holy shit,
relatively strong argument for castrating kids, is that if you allow puberty to set in.
I think I could just ignore this because I'm pretty sure this guy's lying and has destroyed all credibility and is also being bad faith. So by Michael Knowles' own standards, he himself should be literally disregarded for like any time he says anything going forward. What the absolute hell? Can somebody help me out? I didn't know this. Did you know that the main pro-trans argument is that we should be castrating children? Damn. I had no idea about that. It would be a real shame, wouldn't it now, if I took notes? Boy, Michael Knowles, it'd be a really big shame if I could just fact check you and read right here on the instruction manual on how to handle treatment of adolescents with gender identity disorder. We suggest deferring surgery until the individual is at least 18 years old. So now I'm really confused because I'm reading this. I'm reading some facts here, and I'm really hearing a lot of feelings from Michael. You see, in his little straw man world, kids are being castrated by the evil trans ideology, when in reality, that's one, not happening, and two, it's him lying so that he can further push his own political ideology. This guy has to be one of the most dishonest fuckers I've ever seen on YouTube, I think. So the actual argument is that if there are children who are exhibiting signs of gender dysphoria, there are multiple ways that you can address this. One, you could allow them to socially transition, simply allowing them to wear the clothes of their gender identity, or go by a different name, or use different pronouns. All things, by the way, that this motherfucker's against. Things that are completely reversible. I mean, we're talking about what, like a haircut and putting on a shirt or different clothes or whatever. Like, that's easy to change. You have that. If they continue to show strong signs of gender incongruence, there is a possibility that after showing strong signs of gender dysphoria for a consistent 6 months minimum, and after meeting with therapists, with doctors, with your pediatrician, having your parents meet with pediatricians, having your parents meet with therapists, once you go through that, then they might consider putting you on puberty blockers, which simply puts a pause on puberty so you can decide, as I get older, am I going to want to transition? Maybe the gender dysphoria will desist as they get a little bit older. You don't know. Thankfully, if it does desist, you take them off the puberty blockers and they go through their natural puberty. The end. That's the end of it. You see, Michael Knowles doesn't want the truth to get out there because the truth isn't scary. Michael Knowles, he's operating on fear. He knows that he can say castrating children, whatever, to a bunch of conservatives, by the way, that probably all circumcise their kids. He can get up there and say that and fucking frighten the shit out of these people because he knows they're not going to look at anything. They're going to take him at face value, and they're going to be filled with fear, and now they think that the trans ideology means castrating children before puberty. There's a way to misread something, misunderstand something, and then there's a way to just blatantly lie. And that is what Michael Knowles is doing. He is paid to lie.
Sexual decisions and permanent sexual decisions at that.
Nope, not permanent. Reversible.
Free choice.
I'm skipping through this.
Woman's
we don't have to
argument,
listen to bad faith actors.
Man, I don't know. I think there might be a transgender issue in this case. I don't know much about this person. But if this argument is correct, why do we have age of consent laws? Why? What's the point of an age of consent law?
You know, it's funny you would mention this, Michael, because you're up here, you know, with your faux, like, think of the children shtick, which is like an, you know, good old-fashioned one. But if we want to play by your bad faith game and, you know, compare, like, trans ideology to that one doctor that committed, like, a medical malpractice and mutilated that kid, you know, if we want to do that and then you want to talk about, like, why do we have laws of consent, maybe you could go ask some of your Republicans about that, you know? Maybe you could answer why in 2019 the Republican-controlled Idaho Congress rejected a bill to end child marriage for those under the age of 16. Idaho, where the most child marriages take place, there was a bill to try and outlaw that, shot down by, yeah, Republicans. I mean, if you want to play bad faith, we'll play bad faith, buddy.
The argument for an age of consent law is that kids are too young to make any sexual decisions, much less permanent ones. In my upcoming book, Speechless, Controlling Words, Controlling Minds, available now for pre-order.
No, go fuck yourself, Michael. You're a piece of shit. I would suggest all of you just completely ignore everything Michael Knowles has to say. He's already made it very clear that when it comes to taking seriously bad faith actors, we don't have to do that. We can just ignore them, dismiss them. So, Michael, know nothing, you're dismissed.